Okay, we'll go ahead and get started this evening. Monday, May 18th, 2026, North Township Advisory Board meeting. We'll ask for approval of the minutes for April 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Number 2, territory recommendation.
I believe really the only motion made at the last meeting was that we will not be billing for full arrests where the patient is not being transported.
So noted. I don't think we need to take any action on that.
No.
Oh, okay.
Do we?
I
Do we establish
I
it?
think we should adopt it as a township, so it's not just territory, but.
Okay.
So I move that we adopt the recommendation.
Okay. Have a motion to adopt the recommendation to not bill for full arrest calls by the ambulance service.
When the patient is not being transported.
And there's a,
So moved.
there was a move, and a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
So.
Preliminary budget.
Yes, we will run back through this again. I did want to bring up to the township so that way you know that I can't even begin working in Gateway until after the end of May. Right now, they have it in a, almost like a sample, like go on, play with the information, plug it in because they've updated the budget system. So they wanted us to have free reign to go in and work with the system, and then they're going to clear everything out at the end of May. So it's not currently available to input any information. I attended a few different webinars to hear them discuss the information, and it was really hard to sit through. But they did provide materials after the fact. There are videos on there. And I've gone on and I've played on the system, and it does seem like it's fairly intuitive, and moves you from one area to the next. I can hover over things and it tells me what it's looking for, where it used to be you used to have to back out, go to a guide, read about it. And so I think that this is actually going to be an improvement. So I wanted to let you know because it is still going to be a trial period on getting through the budget system this year. So whoever my successor is kind of going to be flying on their own as well, since I won't have time to.
So the June meeting, you'll have figures, preliminary figures.
For the township as well.
And then we can discuss that, and then we have another meeting.
We'll have another meeting, so I'm, and I don't have the meeting schedule in front of me, I apologize.
Well, that's fine.
But I'm thinking that we'll be discussing it in, September, really, and having the hearings in October. So I'll have my budget meeting with the DLGF, either late July or sometime in August for that. So what I present to you next month will be still preliminary at that point.
There been any indication on the changes that were made in the law on the funding?
No, I'm waiting for them to do the legislative update
Okay,
that the DLGF is going to be hosting, and I hope to have more, yeah.
okay.
So, no, I have not received any communications around that. Okay. You want me to do this one, or do you want me?
Whichever.
So we've got the fire department's proposed operating budget that they put together to present as per the interlocal agreement. For the personal services, the full-time staff salary was increased to reflect the most recent adoption of the pay scale, and this is based off of a firefighter 1 and 2 and an advanced EMT that we will hopefully be at that status. So we increased that line item $7,500. The insurance was increased $250. This is to align with what the projected 2027 HSA funding limits are for a single individual. So that was increased $250. The PERF was also increased $525. Again, this is to align with the increased salary and the 7% that the township is contributing to the PERF.
So the employer taxes should go up?
No. So I actually meant to bring it. I had gone on, I've been looking for like calculators. What is the employer cost for somebody at this salary with these benefits? And it tells me the employer taxes based on a 62.5 salary are $4,950, somewhere right in that ballpark. So I've actually cushioned it some.
So is that FICA?
That's like FICA, Medicare, Social Security, all of it. Yeah. Yeah, the unemployment is factored into there as well. So.
Should be a percentage.
Yes.
So if your wage goes up, it should go up the same percentage.
I think that we've had it high. Like we shot high this past year, which is why it's not actually increased. So it's.
Who does our payroll?
Me.
So,
Everything is working out the way it's supposed to, though. We file our 941s and we're to the penny paying the correct taxes.
so does it, each time you do a payroll, does it break that down?
On what's Social Security and what's Fed and
What employer taxes would be?
Yes,
So then we should be able to get a percentage based upon that to apply to the,
correct.
okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, if you think the numbers aren't correct, I can go through and figure it.
If you've increased the wage, I know that the taxes will go up accordingly.
They will. I just didn't increase the line item because it says we're still running under. And because when we did this budget initially, we were using our best estimate. So.
Okay.
Okay, the administrative compensation, we kept that number the same at 12,000. Over time, we decreased $5,000 down to 10,000. Part-time employees, we decreased that line item by $10,000, so it is now at $10,000. Volunteer firefighters, we kept the same at 40,000. Volunteer officers are set at 20,000. And employer taxes, we increased $1,800 up to $4,000. So the total personal services is at $558,150. That is a $36,450 increase from the 2026 operating budget. Questions about any of those before we move on to the supplies?
I don't.
No? Okay. Most of the supplies line items we've kept the same. So office supplies are at 5,000. Fuel is at 21,000. Again, we've noted in the territory meeting, that's a bit of a question mark. We're gonna wait and see how things play out over the next, we do have a couple of months before we really finalize things in Gateway. So we'll hopefully have a better feel for that. Station maintenance supplies, 5,000, medical supplies, 18,000, clothing gear at 35,000. The communication line item, we decreased by $15,000, so that is now at $10,000. So we decreased the total supplies by $15,000, and the total amount in the supplies is $94,000. Questions about any of that? So the thought behind the communication, as Matthew had indicated, is we're hopefully going to be approved for the county's public safety grant to be able to purchase 20 new radios. But then there will still be some money in the communication line item because occasionally things get damaged and you need to buy something new, but it will also provide for the pagers. I think you said hopefully 4 pagers maybe. At that?
So there's a couple potential things that could come up in the communication line. Pagers is one of them because the radios don't do the paging function. One of them is some kind of station alert system that's going to notify people here when there's a call, because inside a metal building, pagers are very iffy. We've actually got one upstairs, a VHF and an 800 pager in the bedroom upstairs, so that we can kind of track, because they record the calls, so we know if they're going off reliably or if they're not going off reliably. There's some systems that have, stations that have a system built into where the bedroom lights come on and a hallway light comes on along with when the pagers go off. That way when the person's getting up in the middle of the night for a call, they can see what's going on, they're not stumbling around. Another line of redundancy to make them wake up. So that is something that could potentially be used out of the line item. Five of our fire trucks have 18-year-old radios in them, so you just never know when something's gonna die, so.
Anything you guys want to discuss before we move on to the next section in the supplies? Okay. Other services and charges. So we've kept the miscellaneous at $4,000. It's kind of a catch-all because there are those odd things that it feels like, where does this really fall? Maintenance contracts, we decreased by $6,500, so that is now sitting at $5,000. Just again, because we're streaming these, so if anybody picks up this meeting instead of the prior one, that is, we just paid maintenance contracts for the heart monitors that were purchased, Lucas devices, and the new cot and load system. So we felt like since we just made those purchases, we could decrease that line item, at least for the next few years, until potentially another large purchase like that would need to be made and we would need more money in the maintenance contracts line. Insurance, we increased by $10,000. Our workers' compensation premium doubled from 2025 to 2026. I would expect our property and casualty insurance may also increase. So we're going to give ourselves some cushion there. I don't have what those numbers are exactly yet for the P&C insurance. Those numbers haven't come in yet. Let me see. Utilities, we increased by $4,000. So that is now sitting at $24,000. Truck maintenance, we kept at $40,000. Small equipment, we kept at $45,000. ALS assists, we kept at $6,000. And that's a question mark, I think, of what really to do with that.
Yeah.
Training, we kept at $8,000. The Acumed overpayment, so this would be if anything comes back in collections, we haven't had to even touch this line item yet, so that's low, but at $2,000. But we did add a professional services line item for our billing service company for $12,000 because we currently don't have a line item for that. I've been paying it out of the general fund in an other category, so it seemed appropriate to add that.
Is that a fee that we need to write a check for, or is that?
It is a fee that I write a check for. No, I write a check for that.
Check for that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So that brought the other services and charges to $206,000. That is $19,500 more than the 2026 budget. The total operating budget that's proposed is $858,150. That's an increase of $40,950 over the 2026 budget, which amounts to 5.01%.
I noticed that there was an expenditure on under training for like April perhaps. Do we have anybody else scheduled for training for the rest of the year under this line item?
We had, I think that purchase was some equipment, some training items that we needed. We have a couple conferences that a couple people have talked about going to, but they're not here yet. can't even register for them yet. So yes, we do have some guys that want to go to some classes. They're just not here yet.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I did express to them that your concern that we weren't using our training fund and trying to get some guys motivated. There's some classes actually this week in South Bend, but because of my work schedule, I couldn't make them during the week, so.
Thank you.
So have something to think about that's not necessarily fire budget, but
Mhm.
next year, in your absence, a new person might need assistance. So when we look at the budget, we might want to build in some funds.
For clerical.
Because I know at one point in time, we did that with a previous trustee,
Mhm.
brought in,
Mhm.
I think, a person from the state, and then there was another advisor that came in and helped Elma out
Okay.
on some items and stuff, so might be.
Yeah, we had a clerical line item in there, honestly, but I hadn't needed one, so we removed it.
Right.
So yes, that would be something that I'll yep.
Okay, cemetery fencing update.
Okay, so we got quotes from 2 of the companies of the 6, I believe, total that I had reached out to. These are both local companies. The first we'll look at area-wide fencing, okay? So these were for the split rail cemetery fencing. So since that was the material that the board decided on. So they quoted Fairmont at $21,597.06. They quoted White's at $4,850 and County Line at $9,658.44 for a total of $36,105.50. Both of these companies would require half due at the beginning of project. Not uncommon, given the purchase of materials. Then the second company, Mullet's Fencing and Supplies. They quoted, again, this is for split rail, so same materials. Fairmont, they quoted at $26,031.52. White's, they quoted at $3,185.39. And County Line, Mount Zion, they quoted at $10,275.34. So they do come in just above area-wide fencing. Let me do the math. So their overall total between the 3 cemeteries. Why do I feel like something was off on that? They come in at $39,492.25. Yep. So, 3, hang on. $3,386.75 difference between the 2 companies. And again, this is not something that we need to act on this immediately. We are under no deadline. So you don't necessarily have to take action at this point, because in follow-up, we are waiting on the church. They did receive the township's letter that we had sent about their parcel of land at Mount Zion. They were going to be discussing it at a board meeting, and then I think they were going to decide there from the board meeting whether or not they needed to take it to the parish as a whole. But they are going to reach out and update once they've come to a decision on that. And I have also reached out to the Indiana Department of Transportation archaeologist that we were told to reach out to about the headstone that appears to be in the right-of-way at Mount Zion. And he is going to figure out the exact location of the right-of-way for us, because he believes that it actually would be outside of where the headstone is and that we should be okay. But he was going to verify that. So there are still some pieces to figure out before we would even do anything.
So Fairmont. Or we just, how far, are we just gonna go with the existing fence line?
I think so. I think that's gonna be
So like the back fence is woven wire, we're just gonna leave it?
that wouldn't be my preference. I feel like if we're gonna do it, we might as well replace it with the split rail, but I'm not the voting member, so.
So you're the trustee, how does that work with cost of the line fence?
Cost of what?
Of a line fence? Used to be that if we're neighbors and you live on that side and I live on this side, I'm responsible for the right half and you're responsible for the right half on your side.
Correct.
So.
That is still, yes.
So are we, but we're just gonna put this in, but.
Yeah,
Does that affect, they want every cemetery fenced in, but
correct.
there are also existing laws that say, okay.
But the neighbors are, et cetera, et cetera.
There.
But because the state statute says that the township is responsible for placing the fencing, I completely,
It'd be interesting to get a
legal.
nod or an indication from the trustee association what some of the other ones are running into. Just.
I had a question.
Sure.
Cemetery number 2, one of them says 310 feet.
Yeah.
And the other one says 208 feet.
Well, they each measure, they both went
That's a
out and
big
measured.
difference.
Yes. Yeah, that is true,
And the price is big difference.
So whites, 31.85.
Go from 31 to 48.
But I was out there with Area Wide when he ran like the perimeter
Okay.
to get the numbers,
I had to
so,
ask.
yeah.
And does this take into account any gates? Like, for example, are we on Fairmount, are we putting
I'm-
up?
No, we'll leave an opening for people to get through, but I think we'd run into just ridiculous issues if we tried to do gates and then the gates don't work or the gates get damaged and I think.
I'm just curious at Fairmount, is the fencing gonna go on the north side or the south side of that driveway, so to speak? Where they're.
On the south side.
Pardon me?
It'll be on the south side.
It'll be on the south side.
South side, and then it'll basically be an opening where the driveway currently is for somebody to access it.
There's no rotten tree stump there that could be dug out.
Yeah.
It was taken down 10 years ago.
And I would imagine there's going to be some
Trimming and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
that will likely
I know
end.
there is a county line, that
Yes.
a lot of those trees need to be trimmed up. some of those shrubs need to be taken out.
I know.
So,
I know, and I've had mixed feelings about having our lawn maintenance person go in and remove the plants that other family, like the family members have placed these at the headstones. Until they start encroaching on another person's headstone, I've got mixed feelings about having them removed. I think they're an eyesore. I don't want them there, but we didn't place them there, and so that just feels.
So if we could table this until we hear more information back at our next meeting, hopefully we'll have something back from the state, maybe.
And from the church.
And from the church.
Church, yeah,
I moved to table this.
good idea. Second, moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Trustee update,
Okay, couple things that I have for you I'll start with the easy ones. I've got on your agendas where our beginning balances were at the beginning of the year, the receipts, disbursements, and then the ending balance as of yesterday from each of the funds. Do you want me to read them out?
No.
Thank you. We're at 37.8% of the year has lapsed. Township expenditures are at 19% of the budget. Fire is at 20% of the budget, and township assistance is at 12% of the budget. We have had 6 requests for township assistance. 1 for mortgage and rent assistance, 4 for utilities, and 1 for cremation assistance. Of the total 6 applicants, 5 were approved, 1 was denied. 9 adults and 7 children were helped across the households that did receive the township assistance. I don't include in these numbers anybody who reached out, got an application, and then we didn't follow through with the process. Either they didn't need help, the landlord was not willing to accept township assistance, in which case I can't put taxpayer money towards something if they're still going to be evicted. So those numbers are not included, and candidly, there was probably at least another 6 of those. People that pick up applications, we have conversations, and then they don't follow through, or the landlord, when I speak to the landlord, says, you know what, I'm really not willing to do that.
so is the cemetery part of the general fund?
Yes,
How much is in the cemetery fund?
we've budgeted 25,000 this year.
Okay.
But that includes our lawn, like our mowing.
How much is in there?
What, I'm sorry?
How much is in there?
For,
Balance of the cemetery fund?
oh, it's all lumped in. Like the general fund is just,
Okay.
it's all encompassing, but we've budgeted for 25,000
Gotcha.
this year. So there's money that can be,
So technically, part of the rate that we have for the general fund covers the cemetery?
yes.
Okay.
Then I wanted to ask you about an assistance situation that I do have. This is somebody who they had reached out for rent assistance, and their landlord had said no. They had court, and she is expecting on June 1st to be back in court with a date to be evicted. But she is inquiring about paying her utility bill. How does the board feel about paying for a utility bill for somebody who may only be there for another 2 weeks? There's not a clear answer to this in the guidelines. I looked. So I thought I would use the 3 of you for your input on the situation.
So my experience would be that the judge isn't going to order an immediate eviction. It's going to be a 15-day or a 30-day eviction. Would be my gut feeling.
Right.
Just a tidbit of information.
There's a past due balance,
Yes.
substantial.
I have not heard back on the total. I asked. But it's scheduled for shut off, so it's probably a larger sum.
Is it just a woman or a family, or do we know?
It is a mother and children.
I think you need to,
That's,
that's my
Yeah.
opinion, but because they are living there.
Yep.
And whether they're evicted, we don't know.
it's,
without-
yes,
Sure.
my only qualm is, okay, if I spend $400 or $500 of the taxpayer money to keep the electric on for a 2-week period or however long it is, that's just harder for me to, versus somebody who is not facing eviction, then it's an, absolutely,
Right.
so,
I agree.
okay.
Two in favor of keeping it on,
3 in favor?
3 in
Yep.
favor of keeping it on.
I will go through the formal application process still. I mean, I still have to review bank statements.
Yeah.
That, I believe, I am still waiting to hear back about the disability / life insurance piece of, we had inquired with our insurance carrier about that. They're pulling together a quote, but I haven't heard anything back yet.
But we
So
have that.
this would be for the full-time employees, like an
Okay.
additional, like if we were going to offer them
Okay.
an additional policy for life insurance that isn't just if you die on the job insurance, which is what we currently have. So,
Did anyone pick up an application that you know of for the homeowner grant?
I turned in one of them today to the auditor's office.
Thank you.
They are due by the end of this week, so if you know of anybody who still has an application outstanding, they need to get them to the auditor's office by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you, I don't know if it's this or go to the order, but do we have an update on housing?
No, I don't have an update on that yet.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mark, permit?
Just the reports that were provided for you guys, the run numbers for them, well, for year-to-date,
Through the end of April.
through the end of April. And Chad provided a report for his administrative stuff that he was taking care of. The territory board or the town board requested IDs of firefighters to post maybe weekly or something, so I'll be taking care of that. I have 3 applications currently I'm reviewing, setting for interviews on the 28th of May. And you guys agreed to meetings on Monday, June 8th for any potential interviews of those for applicants. I think that's it.
I am, and actually, Steve, I'm going to pick your brain about Brightspeed, because you ported a number recently, correct?
That works
Okay.
very well.
Do you, I'm still working on that piece. Did you have a number that you reached out to Brightspeed? Like, to get the pin that I need to be able to port the number?
I called and asked them
Okay,
personally, just called, and I had my bill with the account number.
Yep.
And I said, okay, here it is, I want my PIN number.
and
They
it wasn't
said,
a nightmare to do?
No, I had my bill in front of me, they said, what's your account number?
Okay,
And they give me the PIN number and,
I really hope it's that easy.
for a trustee,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, for the township and the fire department.
Two good services, I can just tell you that I know both of them. One was Consumer Cellular.
T-Mobile is $31.50 per line,
Okay,
and we got free phones,
okay.
so that was
But they can do you can run two phones off of it, or a set of cordless phones.
Yeah.
But if you're you have power here. But
Yeah. okay. I think the phone was the last thing I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Okay. No public for comment? So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign.